Good afternoon. It is Monday. It is around lunchtime. I'm just getting going. I was gone for a few days. Had a couple nice days off. Went to Lake Tahoe area, did some fishing. Fished a little Truckee, it's a fun little river. It's barely a river, it's a creek. But it's good fishing, good trout. And then did some mountain bike riding, did some more fishing, did some climbing. It was awesome. Really nice weekend. Weather was cooperating in terms of high fire danger, right? I mean, we had some fires, certainly some fires after the 4th of July, as you would expect. I checked watchduty.org the next day, and it was just little fires everywhere. But the weather was such that everything was squished pretty quickly. So we got away with it. As best you can. 4th of July, you know how I feel about fireworks, man. It's dumb. It's embarrassing that we can't figure that one out, right? And I got a lot of emails from you guys expressing, because I do the PTSD thing is like you think it's all good and it's like, oh, whatever, get over it. It's like, no, people who've been in big fires, it's terrifying, just the smell of smoke. Okay, so we move on. This is a live picture from Mount Tamalpais. That is the marine layer depth. This is right now. Mill Valley is down in here. This is important to show. You may ask why, and this is over towards Pacifica, Montera Mountain. You may ask, like, well, why do you show this all the time? I show it all the time because this isn't just impacting Mill Valley's day. It's impacting Sausalito's day, Santa Rosa's day, Sacramento's day. When the inversion gets deep like this, or deeper, it keeps temperatures mild. It pushes cool, moist air in the form of a sea breeze into San Jose and into Oakland and Albany and Berkeley. But further up the run, up through the Carquinez Strait, it pushes what becomes now a delta breeze, which is still cooler, moisture up into Sacramento, into parts of the North and Sacramento Valley. Not quite as far as Redding. That's why Redding's always so hot in Red Bluff. But it does get in, and that's what's happening right now. So if we peek at it and put a loop on it, and by the way, I hope you had an awesome 4th of July. I really do. I don't dislike the holiday. Holly's awesome. It's great. America's awesome. But the idea that we're lighting sparklers off, and the next couple of days are a little scary. You see the marine layer deepening out because any kid in his right mind snagged a bunch of sparklers, right? And he's waiting till Thursday when mom and dad are at bridge club or something, right? And they're gonna, do whatever they do. And that's often not often, but it seems like there are a lot of fires the week after, 4th of July. But anyway, this pattern is helpful. So the marine layer is deep. It impacts everybody, not everybody, but a huge amount of the population of California. And so here is the top of the clouds, the top of the inversion. And this is right now over 2,000 feet. That blue line is the top of the cloud. There's the blue line. And you're looking at a cross section, just cut right into that. And then that's what you see. Can that make sense? Because I always ask my wife, I go, does this make sense? And because she's an English major, not a scientist, I guess. And she'll go, yeah, it's a hard one. So I think the profiler, let me know in the comments, let me know if the profiler makes sense to you. Because it's probably this time of year, you notice I show it every night, almost every day. Because it's deep, fire danger goes down. If it's shallow, fire danger goes up. If it's deep, air quality gets better. If it's shallow, air quality gets worse, typically, just broad brush stuff. So you can see the depth. You can see how it looked this morning, and that's burning back. Here's the green fire up around Lake Shasta. A little bit of air quality stuff there. In the mornings, they have their own inversion. The cool air comes down from the mountains, sinks down the drainage basins, and takes the smoke with it. Brought the smoke right down into Redding today, down into Cottonwood, down into Red Bluff. They're seeing a little bit of smoke out in Chico as well. But see how it just follows the drainage? Now that goes away. That aspect of that will go away this afternoon as it warms up and the warmer air starts to rise. And so then you'll start to see the fire smoke reacting more to the surface winds or the mid-level winds. So there you go. That's a live visible satellite. There's green fire a little closer. No containment on this as of yet. Another fire. They had some lightning strikes up here, early last week or late last week. And that was, the Weather Service did a heck of a job. The models did a heck of a job. Well, the Weather Service did a good job too, reacting to that, putting up red flag warnings. That was last week. Here is the air quality, or in this case, it's fireweather.org. This is the fire stuff. and then we'll look at the green fire here. And it's zero containment. Oh, that's not the green. Here's the green. Green fire, zero containment, 1,300 acres. And you can see a picture of it typically. You can see kind of some of the smoke. And you see the inversion, actually. You see the air kind of pressing down there. All right, getting pushed down. But that's the fire. And it is in really rough terrain. So, right, when you see terrain like that, you're going, the fire weather, not a big deal today for this time of year. You're not seeing red flag warnings or fire weather watches. So firefighters will get a good handle on this, except you've got a lot of terrain, and terrain-driven fires are brutal, as you know. And that's kind of where we are with this one. PurpleAir.org, or no, PurpleAir, is it PurpleAir.org? PurpleAir.com, sorry. And this is your air quality, and this is the fire zone. And you see the smoke kind of, the red numbers all the way down towards Anderson and Cottonwood. So air quality, and you're starting to see the air quality impacted up in here. The winds are, there's a sort of a southerly wind. So as the inversion lifts, the southerly wind's pushing smoke that way. So we've got a lot of smoke up there. Air quality not great in Cottonwood right now or Redding. And Los Angeles has air quality that's not so great, but I think that there is smoke down in that area. There's a lot going on in LA though, right? There's a lot of industry and a lot of cars driving around. So it's not a surprise you would have some air quality under an inversion like this. This is up by Redding. This is, I think we're looking towards Cottonwood, out towards Cottonwood and Anderson. And we used to play Anderson in football. A little story on Anderson. Paradise High School played Anderson, and Anderson, man, they had some teams. They had some teams, and it was the weirdest thing because they were our first game every year. I digress, but they were our first game every year. The coaches sketched because they're big farm kids, and they loved to hit. And we'd go down there and they beat us every year. Even the year we won North Section, they beat us because it's a non-conference game. They beat us that first, and I never understood. It's almost like they just teed off on us, had a great game against us, and then the rest of the year they sucked. I don't know if they sucked, but I remember thinking, how did we win North Section if Anderson beat the crap out of us day one? Anyway, this is Anderson. This is smoky smoke, right? This is what it looks like, that purple air. This is what, when you see the reds and the yellows and the purples, this is what it looks like. So, and you can see some of the smoke. Let's see if I can. This is at 10 a.m. this morning. See, you can see the West Coast. Okay, let's. I'm not going to move it, but you can see the smoke, right? And that it's lifting. This is at 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and it's mostly high-level smoke. You'll see it in the sunsets tonight, and then by this evening it settles down, and then you see smoke up here in the east, and that's because of the Canadian wildfires that are still just kind of burning. They've had a pretty big fire season up there. Here's the low. That's the reason the marine layer, the profiler, the blue line, that's where the reason the blue line, or the marine layer, the fog, got that deep. And it kind of does this move. It's going to hang out a little tomorrow. Here we are on Tuesday. See that little red dot offshore? That is an inversion breaker, essentially. It keeps the high at bay. And then it's starting to weaken, certainly, and clicks through on Wednesday, which would be a nice day. But see this here? That's a big high. That's a four corners high building up. And now it's going to start pressing up. You see that big bullseye right there? So that we're heating up. So this is into the end of the week. We're going to be back into temperatures that'll be, gosh, you know, in Central Valley, it's 100 every day, 105, 106. There's going to be some really big heat in terms of the North Central Valley, North Sacramento Valley, and North San Joaquin Valley. And it's because of this high. So what's happened? Why did I forecast a change? Because I went back now. See that troughiness? See this whole area here? That's gone. It's gone. And when that goes away, the Pacific, or the Four Corners high wants to build out. And when it builds out, it takes that heat that's in Vegas now and pushes it our way. So you can just look at this model and do a forecast, right? And you see a little tweak go by, but you really see, I see, like that's big heat there. Let's see. So July, it's going to be hot. As we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It looks like the first part of next week looks pretty hot. Looks like end of this week into the middle of next week. Like when I say hot, I mean you're going to be seeing shallower inversions, lessened air quality, fire danger. We'll probably see some kind of fire weather watch. Not seeing big winds here, but we are seeing big heat. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And that is the 500 millibar vorticity model. Okay, hope you had a good 4th of July holiday. I did have a good one. It was fun. Did a move where we rode into we were at a buddy of mine, Bill Hudson, lives in Palisades out in the valley, the Olympic Valley, which is awesome. You've seen pictures from his house, but it's fun to ride the bike trail and in the evening and go in and watch the fireworks, which is fun, and they're beautiful. So that was fun. It's kind of fun to be. I haven't done a real traditional 4th of July in a while. Okay, so here are the forecast highs for today, or the highs from today. By the time you get this, you're going to be looking at, okay, what was the temperature today in Daggett? And it was 107, or close to. These forecasts will be pretty close. Reading 100. And then there is, one of the things you can see here is, remember, I keep talking about the inversion, but look Sacramento, see? It's 91, 90 up north towards Granite Bay and Roseville. And you can see you go a little further north away from the Delta breeze, you're 97. You go a little south away from the Delta breeze and down towards Modesto, you're at 97. So that's a lot of people in the Bay Area and in the immediate Sacramento Valley that are impacted by that deeper inversion. And most of us, right? Most of us, if you're watching. And you're going, well, what about Southern California? Oh, yeah, for sure. Same thing. They don't have quite the same topography we do, but definitely the coastal areas. I mean, they have a real pleasant day yesterday and a real pleasant day today, a real nice day and a really nice day tomorrow. So you can see like tomorrow, Los Angeles, 84. Today, Los Angeles, 77. So a little warmer. And then this heat in the desert Southwest is stifling. There's 118 up towards Vegas, 117 in Vegas. They are going to stay warm for the few days. This is the North American model, and I just kind of wanted to show you that high building in. So here is the end of the day today, and you see the purples. See how they kind of section off? There's the south end of the valley. Those purples would represent upper 90s, and then we go through tomorrow, and you're going to see more purples come in. Let's see if I can get to that 0Z. There it is. And you see hundreds in Southwest. So tomorrow afternoon, not as hot, but still hot in the South Valley. And then you're going to see that bullseye again on Wednesday. Okay, I get it. It's Wednesday afternoon. And then now this is where the heat starts to show up, or it should. And then you see that Central Valley. So this is on Thursday afternoon. I know it says 0Z on Friday, but we're dealing with GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, so it's a time difference. So basically 0Z Friday is around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which would be our max heating. So you can see that. So this heat footprint for Thursday is going to be with us through the weekend and into early next week. So you're looking at a lot of 100s in the Central Valley, and probably some types of fire weather watches and concerns. This is terrifying here. Look at this. I talked about this once before. An extreme heat watch for the Mojave Desert, right? It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's extreme every day down there, even in December it feels like. But that's an extreme heat event. So that they're looking at maybe temperatures up around 117, something like that. Heat advisories down here. And again, same thing, heat advisory or heat warnings in Phoenix and Tonopah. Is it Phoenix? Let's see, Tuesday, Mariposa County. So it's picking up Casa Grande and Gila Bend, Palm Springs. But these are, when you're doing heat warnings in a place where heat is common, it's pretty terrifying. Okay, so this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This looks like it's going to verify, right? Because we're just a little above average all the way out in California, and in the Central Valley it'll be more above average, so those 100s show up. This is just, I don't really buy into these whole scale because they are long range and things change so quickly, but it is, we saw why they did this, right? We know why. Oh, I get it, because we know that starting on Thursday, the inversion gets shallow, the temperatures get hotter, and it lasts heat probably through the next Wednesday. So for 5 or 7 days, we're going to see big heat in the Central Valley, so that's going to push us above average, not just in the Central Valley, but at the coast, and then well above average in Nevada. And then this will be for precipitation. This helps. So above average, below average, below average for most of us. And that indicates right away, you go, oh yeah, this makes sense. Because when we were watching that high build in, I wasn't seeing a lot of, signature of North American monsoon, which is typically how we would get rain this time of year when that Gulf moisture comes up, Gulf of California moisture. Whew, I had a lot to get through. It's funny, I pulled up stuff this morning and I was like, man, there's a lot to talk about. So, and I talked about a lot, but I think, I think we were fortunate to get to 4th of July in one piece in terms of weather. And I live in constant fear that we're going to have a big holiday like that and then have a big red flag warning event. You know what that red flag warning event looks like too, where it's just, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are. I was talking to some friends up in Tahoe. We were looking at fire danger. We were hiking up in the hills, and I was talking to Hudson, who's basically over at Palisades. It's kind of a big deal over there. And I was asking, I go, what do you think about all this? And we were looking at the different terrains and we kind of just working it out. And I just said, there's not anywhere that's really safe from the fires anymore, certainly after the Palisades and there's Coffee Park. I mean, these fires now, because of the way the forest, it's not anybody's fault right now. It's forest management over the last 100 and some years, right? It's just the way it is. And so the fires haven't burned the forests. And so there's a lot of things, but the way this all plays out is nobody's safe. I mean, it doesn't matter really where you live in terms of maybe in an huge concrete urban area, but the winds, the way we have the urban-rural interface, right, where people want to live on ridge lines, people want to live in floodplains. It's just what we've done, and it's by design. We've decided we're okay with it, but now that there's a a back end on all this, which is, we'll get it, we'll figure it out, but it's going to take a lot of work to get the terrain, the planting, where we move, how we use water. There's so many things. And just, fire, drought, earthquakes, California. So, I know, but what I was saying was, I just think you're nobody's paradise. When I was a kid, this is what that ridge I was on. So we had the Paradise Fire, but you had Butte Creek and you had Feather River Canyon. We always had fires in the canyons because people living in the canyons. It was a weird time, so you had fires in the canyons. Never. And I asked my dad, he's 98. I go, you ever see it? He goes, no, we never had a fire come into town like that. So it never happened. And we were literally, I remember one time they showed us a fire safety film in, this Ocean Beach. They showed us a fire safety film in one of my classes in 6th grade. I'm like, why will I ever need to know that? And it showed people fleeing a fire and how to get out. And I'm like, we're fine. We never had a fire. And then boom, you have a fire there. So it's just, it's just the new norm. This is Trestles, lower Trestles. The winds come up a little bit. They got a pretty good little swell running right now. A little south swell. Pretty busy. I think this is uppers. No, this is lowers. Yeah, it's lowers. But if you were to paddle out, you go right and you can sit right by that guy right there. He's not going to talk to you. You go sit by that guy. He's not going to talk to you. You go sit by that guy. He's going to tell you to get out of there. In other words, you're dealing with these. If you ever watch seals on a rock, these are the seals on a rock, man. I mean, I'm 100 years old. I've paddled out there. They probably throw me a bone only because I'm old. That's what they do. But if you're under 40 and you paddle into that group, you're going to hear about it for sure. The surfing. If you don't surf, if you surf, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of fun. Makes it kind of fun that way. Here's Mount Shasta. Snow's coming off quick. Kind of see some of the smoke from the fire. The smoke's it's higher level stuff because it's coming up from the green. Winds kind of are more mid-latitude or a little more south, which is favorable for air quality for Redding, but not so for the Mount Shasta. This is Farallon Islands. We're doing the fun part now. Well, it's all fun, but the fun part. This is Farallon Islands where there are puffins. I've been out on the Farallon Islands twice, actually. But they love this. The Farallon Islands have an ancient history, which I didn't know. Like the Ohlone and the Miwoks used to go out there and harvest abalone. And I'm thinking, man, that took some sack. Paddle a little birch canoe or whatever you got out to the Farallon Islands. Literally gnarly. But it was a great place to harvest food. And so they had camps out there thousands of years ago, which I didn't know. I'm going to read up on that a little bit. I just found it today. But you see the seagulls. The birds like it because they can lay their eggs, in a place without a nest on the ground, or in a nest, but not, but on the ground or in the caves or in the nooks and crannies, and they're able to survive. Typically, then the puffins, notorious. We've talked about that. They lay one egg, and so they definitely need a place where they can survive. We're not going to see a puffin here. I wish they did have a puffin cam. We do. I think I have a puffin cam here. They're so cute. They're so awesome. Fake puffin or fake murre or something. I think it's a murre, we decided. But these are Atlantic puffins. But that's what we got those. We got that bird, essentially, but on the Pacific. And they live at the Farallon Islands. They breed down there. And there are further south, like in Santa Cruz, a windy day on the Atlantic. But they, hello. But they are like down in Santa Cruz, down at 4 Mile. This is Brooks Falls. Look at the salmon. Isn't that crazy? Like, I'm a bear. I'm not even a bear, and I'm just going to grab one of those. It's awesome. So I'm told in the next few weeks, it's really going. And these are salmon. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. These are salmon swimming upstream into the spawning grounds. Just copious amounts. And how hard is it? I'm just watching the fish, going, how the hell? Like I think I'd sneak over here too. I think I'd come over to this corner, right? Doesn't it look smoother? And in here, what you can't see is there's an eddy, and so the fish are sitting there. They have to rest. They get tired, and so they kind of sit in here and rest. And maybe the bears are smart enough. Yeah, see, there's fish right in here. Yeah, they're resting, and this bear's just like, I'm just gonna go pick me a couple. Okay, I'm in now, dude. Look at that, just grabbing at him. He looks like a little cub, doesn't he? Animals are interesting in that fish, birds, they don't want to expend any more energy than they have to, because then they have to go find more food. And same with the bear. They're very careful about using energy. It's like, I wonder if we got one. It's awesome. I kind of want to see him get one, but all right, I'm running out of time. Yeah, I'm running out of time. Okay, I got to go. So we have puffins. We had the Farallons. Oh, we can stay on the bears. Okay, I'm going to roll. Weather looks good next couple of days. Big time. Oh, got one. Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, he just winged that thing. Jesus. Okay, my recorder is going to shut down. He did have one on the hook, didn't he? Okay, you guys have a great day. Again, next couple of days, Monty. Heats up a lot towards Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. So we're going to have a run of heat, and that includes fire danger and air quality concerns. See you back here.